Hey friends, how you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Ayin Aleph, Daf 71 of Masechta Ksubis, friends. Daf 71, the Maisa talks about Nedarim, basically, different vows. Very interesting stuff, right? I guess at the end of the day, this chapter is called Hamadir. So, let's go right to what I'm going to tell you. So, vows, that's the subject of today. Looking forward? Good. Alright. If you're wondering why I'm not yawning, it's because I yawned right before we started. So, alright, here we go. But maybe I'll yawn again soon. Give a shout out to Rabbi Yisrael. Rabbi Yisrael! By the way, Rabbi Yisrael, I saw you on Friday. You were crossing Betzalel Street. I tried to make eye contact with you, which, by the way, I don't do with most people. Most people I try not to make eye contact. But I tried to make eye contact with you, and I thought instead of waving, I would cover my mouth with my hand, and I would yawn to you. Yeah, Rabbi Yisrael. Yeah, Babel yawn, that's your chiddush. That's your gewaldig. Okay. Oh, someone's crying outside. Well, they probably don't want me to help. I'm not sure I'd be much help. The other day, did I mention this? The other day, I'm in my apartment and I hear my neighbor yelling and screaming. So I didn't know what was really going on. Anyways, she calls me. She needs some help. I come outside. There's a fellow just passed out on our stairs, out, with freaking a partially drunk bottle of beer next to him. Dude, the guy was out. There was no waking this. Well, there was a way to wake up the dude. My neighbor called the cops. The cops came. They really had to wake him up. I mean, they were actually very patient, but they really had to. The guy was not responding. They had to give him a knock on the boots, and he was wearing shoes. A knock on the shoes until he woke up. Then the guy wanted to know what day it was. So the police officer explained it was Friday, the 9th of September. But, yeah. And then the police officer explained, he said, I told you can't sleep on private property. Let's go back. So if you're wondering who's yelling outside, I don't know if it's him, but he might know the guy, let's say. Alright, Rabbi Yehuda Omer B'Yisrael Chodesh Echad V'chulei. Oh, so our Mishnah had said that Rabbi Yehuda says that, so what does the Mishnah say? So Madar Sisha B'Lohanus Lo Ad Lamed Yom Yam Parnes, right? So if a fellow makes a neder that his wife can't get any benefit from his stuff, so he's got 30 days. So Rabbi Yehuda says that he's got a month. So Rabbi Yehuda, Hainu Tanakama, saying the same thing as Tanakama, 30 days, 1 month, right? Say the same thing, right? How long does it take for a cold to go away? If you take medicine a week, without medicine 7 days. So 30 days, a month, same difference. So Abai says, well, the chiddush of Rabbi Yehuda is that but if he's a kohen, so then it's not 30 days, it's 2 months. Right? It's not 1 month, it's 2 months. So that's the chiddush. That's why, in that way, Rabbi Yehuda is different. Whereas Rava says that the nafkamina between the Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda is, well, what if it's a 29-day month? According to Rabbi Yehuda, well, that's a month. According to Tanakama, it's not 30 days. Ho. Let's go weiter. Amar Rab, says Rab, Lo shanu ela b'mefarish, so Rav says that the 30-day limit is when he specifies 30 days. Avol bestam, but if he doesn't say 30 days, yotzi le'alter v'yitein ksubis, so then they immediately get divorced and he must pay her the ksubis. U'shmuel amar, where Shmuel says afilu bestam lo yotzi. Where Shmuel says no, even if he doesn't specify 30 days, they do not get divorced immediately. Rather, you wait 30 days nonetheless. Shama yimotze Pesach Lenidro, because maybe we'll be able to find a way out from the nether, right? So if we wait 30 days, so maybe during that time we'll find some way to retroactively say that the vow wasn't really a valid vow. Or if you're listening to this and saying, wait, this sounds familiar, that Rav says that if he doesn't specify amount of time, then immediately they get divorced. But if he does specify a time, then you wait that amount of time, where Shmuel says even if he doesn't specify a time, you still wait. The Tanan, we already learned this, as we learned in the Mishnah, that if a fellow makes a neder that he will not get any benefit from sleeping with his wife, so Bishame Omim Shtei Shabbosos, so Bishame says he's got up to 2 weeks, so Beisil Omim Shabbos Achas 1 week. V'Amar Rav, and says Rav, Machlokes b'Mefarish, that this machlok is about 1 week or 2 weeks is when he specifies an amount of time. Aval Bistam, but if he doesn't specify an amount of time, Yotzi le'alter, he's got to get divorced immediately. V'Yiteng Ksubis, and he pays her Ksubis. Ushmuel Amar, or Shmuel says, Afilu Bistam Nami lo Yotzi, that even if he doesn't specify amount of time, still don't get divorced immediately. Wait the week according to Beis Hillel. Shema Yimotze Pesach Linidro, because maybe we'll be able to find some way to sort of retroactively annul the vow. So we seem to have the same machlokas between Rav and Shmuel in 2 places. That Rav says that without a specific time they get divorced immediately, and Shmuel says you still wait. We seem to see the same exact machlokas in 2 instances. Tzricha, we need both. If we would only have the case of Tashmish, so Be'ahi Ka'amar Rav, that's where Rav, I would say that's where Rav says that they get divorced immediately. Mishum Delo Efshir Beparnis, because Bia, he can't have a steward to have Bia for him. Aval Beha, but over here, by when he makes an eder that his wife can't get any benefit from his stuff, the Efshir Beparnis, that he can he can work it out with a steward. So maybe I'll say that Rav would agree with Shmuel that you would wait the 30 days. And if we would only have this case, this is where Shmuel says that you wait the 30 days, because you could work it out with the steward. But in the case of Bia, where it's impossible to set up a steward to have Bia for him, Ema Modele Lirav, so I might think that in that case Shmuel would agree with Rav that they have to get divorced immediately. Tzricha, that's why we need both cases. Tanan, we learn in our Mishnah that if a fellow's wife makes an eder that she's not going to eat a particular kind of fruit, and the fellow doesn't annul it, so it comes to be, and she's not allowed to eat that fruit, Yotzi V'Yiteng Ksubis, so he divorces her and immediately and pays the Ksubis. So B'Shlomo l'Rav, so okay, this makes sense according to Rav. Kam b'stam, kam b'mefarish. So I understand according to Rav that the first clause in the Mishnah where it says that they wait 30 days, that's because he specified 30 days. When it says that that there's basically a neder that she's not allowed to get any benefit from a particular fruit, they get divorced immediately. That's because there was no specific amount of time specified. So Rav says they get divorced immediately. But according to Shmuel, who says that nonetheless you would wait the 30 days, Kasha, how come over here they get divorced immediately? Shouldn't we still wait 30 days? Because maybe we'll find some way to annul the vow retroactively. Well, since the case is over here that she is the one who made the neder, that she's not going to get a benefit from a fruit, and he then didn't do anything about it, so then it came to be, right, the neder was chal. V'kasovar Reb Meir hunos in etzba ben shinel. And Reb Meir, and we say Stam Mishnah is Reb Meir, so we're assuming that the author of our Mishnah is Reb Meir, that Reb Meir holds that it's his fault. And because it's his fault, he has to pay her the ksuba, and therefore they may as well get divorced right now, because if she's looking to get divorced and she wants to get her ksuba, then she's not going to be looking to find some way out to annul the vow. So just let them get divorced immediately and she'll get her ksuba. Okay. So that's why. So even though Shmuel says, by these other cases that you would wait the time because maybe you'll find a Pesach Lenidro, but in this case, since it's she who's the one who made the neder, and according to Meir, we consider it to be his fault by not annulling it, and therefore, if she wants to leave, just let her go. She's not going to be looking for a way out of the neder. Does Reb Meir really hold that it's his fault by allowing the neder to be chal? Tanya, friends, I guess a shtickle spaghetti over here, but what do you want me to tell you? Let's go weiter. Oh, so you have a woman, a wife, and she makes a neder that she's going to be a Nazirite. Interesting. And her husband heard, and he didn't do anything about it, so now she's got to be a Nazir. Nazira? I think Nazira, Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda Omer, says Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda, he nosna etzba ben shinel, that it's her fault for making right, she's responsible for making the neder. Lefichach im rotza ba'alaha friyofer. If the husband, when he hears the neder, wants to annul it, fine, so he can annul it. But v'im omar yef shebishan adronis. But if he says, I'm not annulling this vow, I'm not interested in being married to a woman who makes such nedarim, such vows, teitishlo b'ksuba, so then she leaves and does not receive a ksuba because she's responsible for it. And we see that this is Reb Meir. So the one hand, we explained our Mishnah by saying that Reb Meir says that he's the one who's responsible, and she gets her ksuba immediately. Yet over here, we're saying that she's the one who's responsible, and she would not get her ksuba. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Lazar Omrim, whereas Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Lazar say, who knows in etzba ben shinel? He's responsible. Therefore, if he wants to annul the vow of Nazirus when he hears it, so of course he can do that. But if he says, I'm not interested in being married to a woman who makes vows, so then they get divorced and he pays the ksubah because he is responsible. So on the one hand, we said that our Mishnah is Reb Meir, who says that the fellow is responsible. On the other hand, we have this, which is a brisa, where Reb Meir seems to be saying the opposite, punkt verkehrt, that she is the one who's responsible. 1 second, the refrigerator is making noise. Let me see if I can do something about it. Be right back. I think I may have been able to solve it by giving it a shtickle knock. Don't worry, Mom, I didn't give it a real knock. Just a shtickle knock. Seems to be working for now. Alright. So now, ipuch. So the Gemara says, well, I have a good solution. Let's just flip it around. That Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda Omrim, who knows, say, that it's Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda who say that he's responsible, just like in our Mishnah. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Lazar Omrim he nosna. Whereas Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Lazar are the ones who say that she's the one who's responsible. B'sav Rabbi Yossi he nosna. But does Rabbi Yossi really say that she's the one who's responsible? V'otnan. But we learn in our Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi Omer says Rabbi Yossi, ba'anios shlo nosan kitzpa, that if you have a poor woman and she makes a neder that she's not going to have any perfume, you're not going to put on any perfume or anything like that. So if she didn't give a time frame, and the fellow is mekayim it, so they get divorced immediately, and she gets her ksubah. So we see that he's the one who's responsible. So how could you be telling me that she's the one who's responsible according to Rabbi Yossi? Ema, Reb Meir, Reb Yossi, Omrim, who knows? Okay, fine. So let's say that based on our Mishnah, it's Reb Meir and Reb Yossi who are the ones that are saying that he's the one who's responsible, and we'll say that Reb Yehuda, Reb Elazar, Omrim, he knows. We'll say that it's Reb Yehuda and Reb Elazar says the Reb Yehuda and Reb Elazar are the ones who say that she's responsible. So Reb Yehuda, he knows no. But does Reb Yehuda really say that she's the one who's responsible? We learn in the Mishnah, Reb Yehuda Omer, in our Mishnah, Reb Yehuda Omer says Reb Yehuda B'Yisrael, that when it comes to the perfume, if it's Yisrael, Yom Echad Yekayim, that they stick around for, right, if it's for 1 day, so beseder, but more than that, so then she gets her ksuba immediately. So we see that, right, that according to Rabbi Yehuda as well, he's responsible. So we see that according to Reb Meir, and according to Rabbi Yossi, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, he seems to be the one who's responsible. So Amos, or rather, okay, I'll say Reb Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Omrim, who knows, saying, fine, so say Reb Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yossi are the ones who say that he's responsible. Rabbi Elazar, Omer, he knows no. And it's Rabbi Elazar who says that she's responsible. And if you want to say that it is, but we can't do that because it needs to be pairs, right? In the Brisa, right? Initially we had said Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir versus Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Elazar. Now we start switching everybody around. First we said that it's Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir, and we keep on moving things around. So if you want to keep it to be 2 and 2, okay, so let's say Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Elazar, Omim Hinasno. So say, just like the beginning, that Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Elazar say that she's responsible. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Omim Huno saying, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi say that he's responsible. But how could Rabbi Meir be saying that she's the one who's responsible? If in our Mishnah it seems to me that he's the one who's responsible, well, guess what? Our Mishnah doesn't actually say that it's Rabbi Meir. We assumed that it was Rabbi Meir because Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir, but in this case, apparently, it can't be Rabbi Meir because Rabbi Meir says that she's the one who's responsible. Yet now Mishnah we're saying that he's the one who's responsible. So therefore, while in general we'll say that a Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir, in this case, Stam Mishnah does not seem to be Rabbi Meir. But now, frag the Gemara Kasha. V'sav Rabbi Yossi banil shelo nosan kitzba? Does Rabbi Yossi really hold that when it comes to perfume, by a poor woman, if she doesn't give a specific time frame, so then if the husband allows the neder to be chal, so then they get divorced immediately. That implies that according to Rabbi Yossi, that Rabbi Yossi holds that a husband is able to be mefer a neder when it comes to perfumes. We have a kasha. The following items are something that a husband can annul, or vows that a husband can annul. Things that have afflictions of the soul. I guess things that make you feel kind of shver. For example, if she makes a neder that she's not going to bathe. She's not going to put on perfume. Rabbi Yossi says, meh, this isn't considered inu nefesh. The following are considered inu nefesh vows. Shelo ochel basar, that I won't eat meat. Shelo eshta yain, or I won't drink wine. Shelo eskashet bevigdid tzavona, or I won't wear color shirts, colorful clothing. Now that's inu nefesh. So the Gemara says, fine. So we have a brisa where Rabbi Yossi says that perfume wouldn't cut it. It wouldn't be something that the husband can annul. However, our Mishnah, when it says that by perfume the husband can annul, it's not talking about perfume. It's talking about dvarim shebenu leveno. It's talking about that if she makes a neder that she isn't going to remove her pubic hairs, she's not going to shave her pubic hairs, that the husband can annul. Well, that makes sense if you hold that a husband can annul such a vow. But according to the opinion that the husband cannot be mefer such a vow, so how do you explain our Mishnah? Because it was stated, when it comes to shaving her pubic hairs, Rav Huna Omar Habal Mefer, so Rav Huna says that the husband can be mefer that neder. Rav Ada bar Hava Omar Ein Habal Mefer, whereas Rav Ada bar Hava says that the husband cannot be made for such a neder because shlomasinu shul shemez ba'afar pir. Okay, because you never see a fox who dies in the dirt of the hole that he was born in. Here also, the husband is familiar enough with his wife that even if she doesn't shave her pubic hairs, he'll still figure out how to navigate without too much interference. Ella hachav ma'askinon kigon ditalinu lekishutel b'tashmi shamitanu. So what is the situation in the Mishnah where Rabbi Yossi is saying that the husband can be made for a neder when it comes to kishutim? We say it's not talking about perfumes, it's not talking about removing pubic hair. So what's the situation? Well, it's where she makes a connection between, so it's talking about perfume, but she makes a connection between perfume and bia. The Amr that she says, that she says, look, if I put on perfume, well then I will no longer be able to get pleasure from having bia with you. Like Rav Kana says, the Amr of Kana, look, if she says that if she says to her husband, you can't get any benefit from having bia with me, well, she can't do that. She can't control his right to have benefit. But if she says that I will not get any benefit from having bia with you, Yoffer, so he should be made for that neder. because you can't feed to a person something that's forbidden to him, and therefore, if they have bia and she is not allowed to get pleasure from it, so he can't have bia with her if she's going to get pleasure from it, and she made it usher upon herself, so therefore he should be made for the neder. So we see that, so now in our Mishnah, where she's making this neder about perfumes and he is able to be made for it, it's because she made a connection between the perfume and bia. That if she puts on perfume, then she won't be able to get any benefit from having bia with him. And if she makes a neder that she won't get any benefit from having bia with him, he could be made for that neder. So why could he be made for that neder? She's not saying outright that she's not going to get bia, pleasure from having bia with him. What she is saying is that if she puts on perfume, then she won't be able to have any pleasure from bia with him. But just don't put on perfume, and then there won't be any issues. But then they're going to call her minuvelas. They're going to call her disgusting if she doesn't put on perfume. But then 1 second. In our Mishnah, we had said that if she puts on, right, if she makes this neder that she's not going to put on any perfume, so then they get divorced immediately. But 1 second, even if she puts on perfume, but she should still be also for either 2 weeks or for 1 week. Why getting divorced immediately? Right? Because we learned that, about a week ago, or a little more, that, maybe a week and a half ago, that if a fellow makes a neder that she can't get any, right, that he's not going to get any benefit from having beer with his wife, so he has a week according to Beis Hillel, 2 weeks according to Beis Shammai. So why are we saying that they have to get divorced immediately? Well, when we give a week or two, that is when he's the one who makes the neder, the sava, because she figures, okay, for whatever reason he got upset at me, but he's going to calm down, and then, we'll stay together. But over there, where she's the one who made the neder, Vishasik law, and he kept quiet, she's going to figure, well, since he kept quiet, he must hate me, and she's not going to want to stick around, she's just going to want to get divorced. Rabbi Yossi had said in our Mishnah that by a poor woman, if there was no fixed, right, if she didn't give a set amount of time for how long she's going to be without perfume, so then they get divorced immediately. How much is the amount of time that if she gave that amount of time, they would wait for then? Says Rabbi 12 months. 10 years. Rav Chizda Amar Avimi regel. Rav Chizda says the name of Avimi that she has until the upcoming holiday, Shekain, because the girls get perfumed up on the festivals. And the wealthy girls, women have until 30 days. What's 30 days? Because an important woman gets benefit from the fragrance of her perfumes for 30 days. A fellow who makes a neder that his wife cannot, that he vows his wife from being able to go to her father's house. Well, if the father lives with them in the city, so if it's up to 1 month, so they could stay together, if it's more than a month, then they have to get divorced and she gets her ksubah. But if her father lives in a different city, so then he has up until the first regel. That if it's until the first regel that the wife would go to her father's house on the festival, okay, and okay. So the daughter would go to her father on the festival. So if it's one festival, but more than that, so then, right, if it's 3 festivals, so then they get divorced and he pays the ksubah. A fellow makes a vow that his wife cannot go to a mourner's house, or to a party. Yotzivi thinks Ksubis, so he's got to divorce her and pay her Ksubim. Because he's limiting her. He's locking her up. But if he was making a taina because of some other reason that the Gemara is going to explain, so then it would be okay. That if he says that I'm making a vow under the condition that you tell so and so that what you told me, that that the husband's only going to be annul a vow if under the condition that you tell so and so what you told me, or what I said to you, or that she should just do busy work, right, filling up pitchers and pouring them into the garbage. Yotzivi thinks Ksuba, then they get divorced and he's got to pay the Ksubis. All right. Hagufa kasha. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. On the one hand, you said that if he makes an eder that she can't go to her father's house for one festival, so that's okay. But more than that is not okay. But then you said, but if 3 festivals, then they have to get divorced. What about 2 festivals? Right? Initially, we said that 1 festival is the limit, implying that 2, then they have to get a divorce. But then we say that after 3 festivals, they get a divorce. But 2 would be okay. Abai says, well, the Seifa is talking about a priest, right? That by a priest, we give a longer time frame because they wouldn't be able to get remarried afterwards. For Rabbi Yehuda, and so Rabbi Yehuda, right? In our Mishnah, he would give the extra time frame for the Kohenes. Rabba bar Ula Omar Lokasha Kam Redufa Kam Redufa. So it depends if she normally goes to her father's house. If she normally goes to her father's house, so then she gets more time, right? Then it's 2 months. But I'm sorry, if she normally goes to her father's house, then already on the second month that they should get divorced. But if she doesn't normally go to her father's house, so then 2 months they could stay together. 3 months they would get divorced. And it says in Shir Hashirim that, and then I was in his eyes like finding peace. That's cool. Rabbi Yochanan says, it's like a bride who feels comfortable at her father-in-law's house, and she would go to her own house to, say her praise to her father, I guess, like how well things are going by her father-in-law, I guess. And it will be on that day, the word of God, Tikri Ishi, will call my husband, Tikri Od Baili. You'll call me Ishi and not Baili. It's like a bride who feels comfortable in her father-in-law's house and is no longer in her father's house, that she's basically been married. She feels comfortable with her husband. All right, friends, that was Daf Ayin Aleph from Masechet Ksubis. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.